Hello and welcome to today's video. In this one I wanted to show you how I completed the personal boss and giving yourself some tips on how you can do it yourself. But before we get into the video, if you want your squad to be reviewed by myself in one of my upcoming videos, then make sure you leave your in-game ID and make sure you add one area of the game you want to improve on. This could be arenas, it could be gem base, just let me know, but you have to let me know in order to be picked. I'll be picking players from all previous videos and including this one, so make sure to leave your comment below if you want to be showcased. Now onto this video, I wanted to show you how you can beat this personal boss yourself with some of my useful tips and ideas on how to improve your team. This has taken me a while to do, and maybe for yourself you've already completed this ages ago, but for me, and I'm sure like many others, I was Throne Room level 11 when this boss was actually announced and released. And the reason why I'm saying it was Throne Room 11 when this was released is because the difficulty of the personal boss is based on your Throne Room level and not your squad power. So for people who have been leveling up over the last year, you've probably beaten this at some point in your journey, but this guide will be aimed at Throne Room 11 specifically, but there will be some tips that you can take yourself for Throne Room 5 and 9 onwards. So firstly, the most basic thing I did, I used the maxed out spells of the Lion Spirit and Cliff's Totem during the battle. Now always make sure, not just for the personal boss, but for other bosses, PvPs and gem base, to always upgrade your spells to their max level possible for your Throne Room level. If you're not sure how to do that, then find or build the room called the Magic Lab, and from there you can increase the spells that you want. There are spells like the Healing Glade and Summon Ally, which are normally really good to use in PvPs and gem base, but for the personal boss they're not actually really that ideal. I'll show you what the max level of summoning an ally can do while I'll explain the Healing Glade. The Healing Glade is more for a short time burst, and this only heals your team for 3 seconds. Now normally this would be great, but when the personal boss, like most other bosses, start to lose their lives, it can actually start to one-hit your fighters. So you'd have to be quite lucky in your timing with the Healing Glade to make it work, and there's definitely going to be scenarios where you actually misclick it and it doesn't work on anyone because they've gone down before you could click it. And for that reason, that's why I'd actually stick to the Lion Spirit and the Cliff Totem over it. Now that we're done with this fight, let's have a look at what the max level summoning ally can actually do. And as we can see, it's done okay, but for a boss with such high health, the ally actually did very little in this fight. And again, I would avoid using this for now and stop upgrading it if you thought this would actually help you with your personal boss. So let's move on to other things you can do to help you in this fight, and let's start off with your hero, as I think some people could improve on this. And just before we do, make sure you get subscribed if you like these types of videos, as I have plenty more coming in the future. Right, this is the hero setup for the fight I done against the boss in both videos, and there's one thing you may have thought that would have worked, but I know it actually doesn't, and that's the Ace Up the Sleeve relic. Some people believe this works on the boss and you take lives away from it, but in my experience I haven't seen this work, and normally you'd actually have to kill something, not just take lives away from it, for the Ace Up the Sleeve to work. And I've actually found more benefit in just keeping people alive to let them deal the damage. This also goes the same for the totems. I wouldn't use these because they're too random on who it actually affect and what bonuses they will give. For this type of boss, I found that things that are more consistent actually can work better for you, like the Champion's Belt, Armoured Hamster, Sorcerer's Hat and Magic Signet Ring. You do have some alternatives like the Clock of Hard Times, Enchanted Quiver and Robin's Hood Hat, but these depend on your team and situation, so just choose whatever suits your team best. The last thing to talk about on the hero is the main relic in the middle. Now I'm using the Horned Helmet personally, and the main reason I'm using the Horned Helmet is because I have 3 fairly good tanks, with one of them that can actually resurrect people because of the artifact. Now for yourself, you might not have any good tanks, or at least any that you think would stand out, and I know for a lot of you are probably actually using the anchor for this boss, but the only issue with that is that you can only use that on once per person and once per battle, as I'm sure you all already know. So try and use the Horned Helmet or the Symbol of Equilibrium and see how you get on with those, but as always they will need some level ups in them to actually see them work. Now away from the hero and onto your squads, I'd really recommend for you to check out your inventory and see if you actually have this weapon in particular. It's from the Elven event, but I'm sure that the dragon might have it when it comes back around, and I'm mentioning this as I found this to really help my team deliver a lot more damage just because one of my tanks are using it. The next thing I would do is to upgrade your squad's specializations, and you can find this on the evolution tab when you click on any one of your fighters. If you want to know what are the benefits and negatives of upgrading this tab, then why not check out my video last week on Is the Cathedral Even Worth Doing? It has my insight on the Cathedral, whether you should be doing it over other things like the Lighthouse, Arenas or Gem Base, and how much time you should be spending on it, if at all. Now for myself, I found upgrading the team specializations have had a big impact on my team, and in a good way. So what I've done is upgrade every area of the Specializations tab until everyone is at least level 3, and on certain people even higher than that. and this is because with every complete level up, you can also level up these bonuses around the center bonus. And these bonuses work great when the whole team are using them together, and they can stack up to a total of 4 times. So go check that video out, as that'll have a guide depending on how much time you have on the game and how much time you should be spending on the cathedral, if at all. But again, I would look to get everyone to at least level 3, but aim for higher for much bigger bonuses. Now the second to last thing you've probably seen at Throne Room level 11, and that's trying to make sure you're using a Dragonborn in your setup, and more importantly a tank combo version like this one here. Ideally you would be using Eclipse Armor and Armor Soul, but as we all know with the Marquee, I've personally not wasted my time on doing that and just settled for a Paladin set. This is very important to have them as a combo from a tank, and that's because the personal boss will hit high bursts of damage from time to time, so full 6-piece archers will naturally just go down. So make sure again that you're using a combo. The last thing to look at will be your totem. Once you start to get past level 30, you start to gain a lot more bigger bonuses, and ideally you would want your Dragonborn or your best tank to be using this totem here. With these stats, this will massively help keep your fighter alive and dealing way more damage. For anyone wondering, I was able to defeat the boss at around 22.8 million with 7 people, but I'd love to know if any of you have defeated this boss already, and what throne room level you was when you defeated it, and roughly with what squad power. Leave your comments below, it'll be great to see when people are actually able to defeat this boss, and roughly of what power. Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this video enough for a like to show me you enjoyed it, and get ready for a start of my A Plague Tale series, as that'll be starting this Tuesday from 3:30 PM GMT+1 for anyone that's actually watching this outside of the UK. And as always, thank you for watching.